Thank you for watching another edition of College Blok. Due to the large volume of feedback, what I wanted to do is I wanted to leave my audience with some information, a telephone number and an email address where you can actually contact me directly, leave suggestions, feedback, or if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can also reach me at these these contact numbers or emails. The email is talkshow@collegeblok.com. The telephone number is 914-309-8620. You can leave a message. I will return your call as soon as possible. Today we have two power players on my show today. They're doing some fantastic things in the Westchester area, and they're going to be expanding into other cities, other states with their particular organization, which is called Parents Against Teen Violence. So right now I want to introduce my guests. We have Mr. Benyamin Bridges and Mr. Charles Johnson.
Thank you for being on the
All
program.
right, thank you, gentlemen. All right.
Thanks for having us here.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. So I've actually had an opportunity to work with your organization. I've known you for years, but as of last year, I was invited to do a youth conference at the Mount Vernon School District. Can you just explain to our viewers what Parents Against Teen Violence, what your goals are, what your focus is, and how do you feel that your organization can help, the community?
Well, first off, if I can, I'd like to even give a little background on how we got started.
Okay.
Because what ended up happening was that, there was a large number of youth that were getting killed in Mount Vernon due to gang violence and drug violence. And being that that was coming about, what we ended up doing, Travis, was really just me and my wife were going to a lot of funerals,
Right.
It just so happened that out of those 25 kids that have been killed, 2 of them were parents that I knew personally, that were friends of the family and stuff. And I mean, I remember these kids since they were like little tots running around the house.
Right.
And then to see them in those coffins with suits on and everything, it just did something to me, broke me up inside. So I said, you know what, we got to do something about this. So me and my wife were talking about it, and we said, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we got to get into the community and put an end to all this violence. These kids are dying like flies. They're killing each other, like it's going out of style. So anyway, what ended up happening, me and my wife started a group called Parents Against Teen Violence. And it was a grassroots organization because first thing we did, we got and organized the mothers that had their children just died,
Right.
And we brought them to our meetings and we organized around them. And for some of them, it was a little too grief-stricken because it brought up the emotions of them losing their children. But for others, they stuck with us for a while, and we were able to actually blossom and really grow and get into the school system. And then we presented it to the superintendent of schools, and he actually said, listen, if you guys really want to do this, we don't have any answer for this stuff right now. Maybe you guys might be able to help. So what we ended up doing was going into the school system, and with all 5 schools, this was last February, and we actually did a nonviolence youth conference where we had over 140 speakers. We went into the schools, and it was really great.
Right.
At each school, we had about 50, 40 parents, and not just parents, but speakers. Some people were as far away as Newark, New Jersey. And because what it was in the beginning, I was like, wow, is this thing going to really work? We got about 10 people.
Right.
Then we were trying to get other folks, and folks was like, I ain't got the time. I had to actually get in people's chests. I said, do you know we talking about children. Our children dying in the community, and you don't have the time? Then people was like, well, maybe I can make the time. Eventually, we got more people to come out, and after a while, we had to tell people, we got enough folks. It's cool. We'll get you on the next one, right? But it was a huge outpouring. People were really showing their love and how they really cared about what happened to our children.
Right.
And then what ended up happening was that we had the conference. It had a huge impact because we had folks that were ex-gangbangers. We had doctors, lawyers. We had counselors, teachers, people that came and did workshops with these kids. We had keynote speakers that were, known throughout the country. And they actually came and spoke to these kids and showed their love and showed some knowledge and wisdom to them. And I think that's what turned a lot of them around. And because of that, even the superintendent this year said, listen, you guys did such a good job. We want you to come back twice this year. So that's what ended up happening. We came back. We're doing one in November from the 15th to the 19th.
Okay.
And we're going to be doing another one in March. When we don't have the dates for that one yet. But, you know, right now I'm just glad we're focusing on this one.
And this one, right. Okay, okay. So, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Well, you've actually contacted me on several occasions, and it seems like you do a lot of the business and a lot of the organizing aspect of helping parents against teen violence. What is your perspective on what your goals are as your involvement with this organization?
Okay, well, understand, Travis, that I come from a time when education, what it could do, how it operated, was very, very clear. I came through a one-room schoolhouse.
Yes.
Okay, so everything was very, very upfront back in those days and times. But over the course of time, I've seen, you know, as the educational system has expanded and become more sophisticated, that the value that it brings to our children has somewhat diminished over time.
Right.
To now, where we today are struggling, trying to cause a educational system to operate. So the energy that I bring in, as a matter of fact, being here in White Plains brings up a lot of memories for me.
Yes.
The way I got started with children and education was from my work in corporate America. I worked in several corporations up here in White Plains.
Okay.
And as I was saying to to my dear brother here, that on the way up here, that as part of that, what I did, I brought children to the corporations where I worked at on summer work programs.
Okay.
So they could actually see a corporation, how it works on the inside.
Excellent.
And I began to teach them and show them the various nuances. This is what you do when you come for an interview, and so on and so forth. And I began to introduce them to other black people who were managers and people who were up and coming in corporate America.
Wonderful.
All with the idea that we could show them, look, if you stay with the education, this is what you can do. This is where you can go. Right. And so when Brother Avishon, who is a big-time brother, big-time lover of people.
I'm familiar with, yes.
All right. He stopped me on a street corner one day and told me that there was a group of people called Parents Against Teen Violence that were doing things to try to stop the growing amount of death that was going on in Mount Vernon.
Yes.
And I came and I saw what they were doing. I joined the organization. And now what I do is, there's a lot to coordinate 150 people, 150 speakers, organizing food, organizing a lot of different things that go on to make up the conference.
Right.
My experience in corporate America in doing that, I was a manager for many years, so I use that expertise to help me to organize the activities and people for the conference.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, well, actually, I have a question for my guests as well as for my viewers, and you can contact me. Feel free to call me, feel free to email me. What I want to know is,